The National Transportation Safety Board, or NTSB, has released its report on a United Airlines flight that ended in a damaged fuselage. The flight landed with such force that it caused significant damage to the 767's airframe. Let's examine what exactly investigators had to say for today's video. The incident in question happened at Houston Intercontinental on July 29, 2023. The Boeing 767-300ER, registered November 641 Uniform Alpha, had flown from Newark, taking off normally and reporting no issues on its flight to Texas. The aircraft was being flown by the first officer, or FO, who had been at the airline for less than 6 months. Supervising the relatively new pilot was a qualified captain monitoring in the other seat. At the time of the incident, the FO had accumulated about 129 flight hours with Boeing 767s compared to the captain's 5,500 hours in the same aircraft type. The aircraft was cleared for an instrument landing system approach to runway 26 left. According to the flight crew, the airplane was fully configured for landing, on speed, and in compliance with the company's stable approach criteria. Initial touchdown on the main wheels was normal. Once the main wheels touched down, the FO stated that he held aft pressure on the control yoke to keep the nose wheel from hitting the runway, but the nose wheel contacted the runway with quote-unquote abnormal force. When the nose of the airplane bounced, he reacted by pulling back on the control yoke to keep the nose wheel from impacting the runway a second time. The first officer applied the thrust reversers, the speed brakes deployed, and the nose wheel bounced a second time. Subsequently, the nose wheel impacted the runway a third time, and the airplane began to decelerate normally. The captain assumed control of the aircraft, and the remainder of the landing rollout was normal. A post-accident examination of the airplane revealed that the series of abnormal nose wheel impacts with the runway were the cause of the substantial damage to the fuselage. The fuselage skin was buckled and fractured, and the underlying stringers and frames were damaged. The aircraft was ultimately repaired and, following extensive testing, returned to operational service. In the final report, investigators found several contributing factors. Although the FO stated he held aft pressure on the control column during the initial touchdown, flight data show that he also made nose-down column inputs during the landing sequence. These nose-down inputs contributed to the nose wheel abnormally impacting the runway. The NTSB also found that the speed brakes were not armed before landing and after the airplane's first bounce. Data showed the speed brakes automatically deployed with the first officer's application of the thrust reversers as designed. Because deployment of the speed brakes with the thrust reversers occurred while the nose wheel was still in the air, the NTSB believes this likely contributed to the second abnormal runway contact of the nose wheel and the subsequent damage to the airplane. The cause of the damage was ruled to be the first officer's improper control inputs after the airplane touched down, with the NTSB adding, contributing to the severity of the damage was the flight crew's lack of recognition that the speed brakes were not armed, which led to their delayed deployment. What do you think of this incident and the cause? Let us know by leaving a comment. In addition to our daily YouTube videos, Simple Flying publishes over 150 articles every week. If you're looking for the latest aviation news and insights, visit simpleflying.com.